Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question that might seem simple on the surface, but has the power to shift your entire existence. Are you truly happy? Not, I'm okay. Not, it's fine. Not the polite smile you flash at the world, but deep, soul-shaking, I don't need a reason kind of happy. Because here's the truth most people never realize. Happiness is not one thing. It's not one moment. It's not even one feeling. It exists in levels. You can be comfortable and think that's happiness. You can be excited and think that's happiness. But what if I told you that most people are living in the lowest levels of happiness and calling it their peak? Today we're going to go deep. We're going to uncover the layers of happiness, the hidden levels most never reach because they settle too early. So let's start from the bottom. Level 1, pleasure. Pleasure is the entry point, the taste of your favorite food, a vacation, a new phone, the rush of likes on your social media post. It's dopamine. It's fast. It's addictive. But here's the catch. It fades. You eat the cake, it's amazing for 5 minutes. You buy the car, it's thrilling for 5 days. You get the applause, the validation, but it never fills you because pleasure is external. And anything that comes from the outside has the power to leave. If you're stuck at this level, you'll always chase the next thing, the next moment, the next fix, and you'll wonder why you're still empty. Level 2, achievement. Now this is where many high performers live. The people who hustle, who grind, who set goals and crush them. This is the happiness that comes from progress. You graduate, you get the job, you buy the house, you reach a milestone, and guess what? It feels incredible because you earned it. You created it. You pushed through the pain, and now you have the trophy. But here's the challenge. Once you reach the top of the mountain, what's next? You realize it's not the destination that gave you happiness, it was the climb. So you set another goal, and another, until one day you're exhausted. You're successful, but not satisfied. Because achievement, while powerful, still lives in the future. You're always chasing the next win. Level 3, fulfillment. Now we're rising. Fulfillment is different. It's not about what you get, it's about what you give. It's the happiness that comes from meaning, from contribution, from growth. You teach someone, you help a stranger, you build something that changes lives. You raise your kids and see them become kind, strong, beautiful souls. And suddenly, happiness isn't a spike. It's a state. It's deeper, richer. It lasts. Because fulfillment is born from purpose. And purpose never expires. But even that, as powerful as it is, isn't the highest level. Level 4, peace. This is the one most people never taste because it doesn't come from noise, it doesn't come from success, it doesn't come from validation, it comes from alignment. When your values match your actions, when who you are in private matches who you are in public, when you're no longer fighting the world or yourself. Peace is quiet power. It's waking up and knowing you don't need to prove anything. It's loving yourself not because of what you did, but because of who you are. And let me tell you, when you reach this level, you don't just feel good, you feel free. No mask, no pretending, no striving, just presence. But here's the twist. These levels aren't steps on a ladder. They're layers in a circle. You can touch all of them, sometimes in the same day. But where you live, most of the time, that's your level. So how do you rise? Let me give you 3 quick keys. 1, stop outsourcing your happiness. If your happiness depends on other people, on outcomes, or on circumstances, you've handed away your power. Reclaim it right now. Make joy your choice, not your reward. 2, shift from what can I get to what can I give. The happiest people aren't the ones who have the most. They're the ones who give the most. Service is not sacrifice, it's soul fuel. Start serving in small ways and your heart will expand. 3, master the inner game. Your mind is either your prison or your palace. Learn to manage your thoughts, emotions, and energy. You don't need to be positive all the time, but you need to be in control. And one final truth I want you to carry home. Happiness is not an accident. It's a skill, it's a habit, it's a decision. And the moment you stop searching for it out there is the moment you start feeling it in here. So I ask you, again, are you truly happy? If the answer is yes, protect it. If the answer is no, pursue it. With everything you've got. Because life is short, time is precious. And you, yes, you were not born to settle for shallow joy. You were built to rise, to give, to love, to live at the highest levels of happiness. Now go, live there. Pleasure fades, but purpose fulfills. This is a truth most people discover too late in life. After chasing every thrill, every high, and every quick fix that promised happiness, but delivered only temporary satisfaction. Pleasure is addictive because it's instant. It's the taste of your favorite food, the buzz of a new notification, the thrill of a purchase, or the applause from a crowd. It feels like happiness, but it's not built to last. It's designed to spike and crash, to come and go. Pleasure is a hit of dopamine. And like any hit, the more you seek it, the more it takes to satisfy you. Over time, even the things that once excited you start to feel empty, routine, and meaningless. You begin needing more stimulation, more novelty, more excitement to feel anything at all, and in the process, you drift further from what truly fills the soul. Purpose, on the other hand, is not a rush. It's a route. It doesn't explode like pleasure, it expands. It anchors you. It gives you direction when life is chaotic. While pleasure is about the now, purpose is about forever. It's what you wake up for when the applause stops. It's what pushes you through the pain when the motivation fades. And unlike pleasure, which comes from the outside, purpose is generated from within. It's not something you consume, it's something you contribute. It comes from knowing your life matters, that your actions have meaning, and that you're creating impact beyond yourself. When you live with purpose, happiness becomes a byproduct, not a goal. You stop asking, what will make me feel good today? And start asking, what will make this day count? There's a reason why people who seem to have it all, fame, wealth, attention, still fall into depression, still feel lost, still burn out. Because they built their lives on pleasure, on applause, on recognition. And the moment it slows down, they feel like they're sinking. But then there are others who live simply, who aren't flashy, who don't chase highs, yet they radiate joy because they're anchored in something deeper. A teacher who shapes young minds, a mother who raises her children with love, an artist who creates with truth, a leader who serves instead of shines. These people might not chase pleasure every day, but they live with purpose. And that creates a deeper, quieter, more resilient form of happiness. Living for purpose requires a shift in focus. It means choosing meaning over mood. It means sacrificing comfort for contribution. It means doing things that might not feel good in the moment, but that build something far more valuable in the long run. It's not easy. Pleasure is always louder. It screams for attention. But purpose waits patiently. It whispers. And only those who slow down enough to listen ever hear it. The beautiful part is, when you start aligning with your purpose, whether it's helping others, building something meaningful, or simply becoming the best version of yourself, pleasure starts to transform. It's no longer a distraction, it becomes a reward, a celebration of a life well lived, a bonus, not the goal. Purpose doesn't eliminate pleasure, it redefines it. Most people are chasing pleasure to escape pain, but purpose gives the pain a reason. It transforms your struggles into stories of strength. It turns setbacks into stepping stones. And while pleasure demands more and more, for less and less, purpose gives more meaning the deeper you go. It is the only form of happiness that grows with time, that strengthens with age, and that survives life's storms. Success without alignment leads to emptiness. You can have the money, the title, the house, the car, and still feel like something is missing deep inside. You can walk into a room full of people who admire you and still feel completely alone. That's because success, as defined by society, is often external, is measured in numbers, trophies, degrees, and attention. But alignment is internal. It's about being in sync with your values, your truth, and your soul. When those two are out of sync, no matter how high you climb, you'll always feel off. You'll reach the top of the mountain only to realize you climbed the wrong one. There are people working jobs they hate for a paycheck they love. There are influencers preaching positivity while battling anxiety in silence. There are business leaders building empires while their health, relationships, and peace fall apart behind closed doors. On the outside, everything looks perfect. On the inside, they feel a hollow ache they can't explain. That ache is misalignment. It's what happens when your actions no longer reflect your essence, when your decisions are driven by fear instead of authenticity, when you choose what's profitable over what's meaningful, when your life becomes a performance instead of a purpose. Alignment is not about being perfect, it's about being honest. It's about asking yourself, am I living in a way that reflects who I truly am, or have I molded myself to fit someone else's idea of success? True alignment begins with awareness, with paying attention to the moments that drain you versus the ones that light you up, with noticing when your smile is real and when it's just part of the act. It's about recognizing the quiet voice inside you that says, this isn't it, even when the world is applauding. That voice is your compass. Ignore it long enough and you'll drift into a life that looks good but feels wrong. You can't fake alignment. You can't trick your soul into being fulfilled by things it never asked for. You can only silence it for so long. Eventually it catches up. You start feeling anxious, unmotivated, restless, or numb, not because you're lazy or broken, but because you're out of alignment. You're chasing a version of success that doesn't belong to you. Real success is not just achievement, it's authenticity. It's waking up and knowing you're not betraying yourself for a paycheck, applause, or approval. It's knowing that the life you're building isn't costing you your integrity, your peace, or your joy. When you live in alignment, everything changes. Your energy returns. Your mind becomes clear. Your relationships deepen. You start to attract people, opportunities, and experiences that match your true self. Decisions become easier because they're based on your values, not on pressure. You stop second-guessing every move because you trust your direction. You begin to feel a quiet kind of confidence that doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. That's the power of alignment. It reconnects you with your essence and puts you on a path that feels right, not just looks right. So many people chase success as if it will give them identity. But alignment comes first. When you know who you are, success becomes a reflection, not a requirement. It becomes the result of living from the inside out. Alignment allows you to say yes to what matters and no to what doesn't, without guilt. It teaches you that saying no to a profitable opportunity that doesn't align with your values is actually a win, not a loss. It reminds you that true wealth is peace of mind, clear purpose, and a heart that's not at war with itself. Alignment is not something you find once and forget. It's a daily practice, a constant check-in, a commitment to living with integrity in a world that rewards image. Happiness is not found, it's created. Most people spend their entire lives searching for happiness, as if it's hidden somewhere out there, waiting to be discovered. They travel to different places, buy new things, chase new relationships, and constantly look for the next big moment that will finally make them feel whole. But the truth is, happiness doesn't come wrapped in events or possessions. It doesn't arrive through luck or fate. It's not buried in some future destination. It's crafted, moment by moment, through choices, mindset, and intention. The idea that happiness will come when you achieve something or when you fix everything in your life is an illusion. That kind of thinking keeps you stuck in the future, always postponing joy. It becomes a moving target. First it's getting the degree, then the job, then the relationship, then the house. And by the time you reach what you thought would make you happy, you're already chasing the next thing. That cycle never ends unless you realize that happiness is not something you wait for. It's something you generate. It's something you cultivate inside yourself, no matter where you are or what you have. Creating happiness means becoming intentional about how you live. It starts with gratitude, not just as a practice, but as a way of seeing the world. When you learn to appreciate what you already have, your perspective shifts. The ordinary becomes meaningful. The small moments start to matter. You stop waiting for a perfect life to be happy and begin finding perfection in the life you already have. That shift in mindset is powerful. It moves you from lack to abundance, from pressure to peace, from chasing to creating. Another key to creating happiness is taking ownership of your emotions. It means recognizing that while you can't control everything that happens, you can control how you respond. Life is unpredictable. Challenges will come. People will disappoint you. Things won't always go as planned. But your happiness doesn't have to be at the mercy of your circumstances. When you choose how to think, how to react, and how to move forward, you take back control. You stop being a victim of life and start becoming the author of your experience. Happiness is also created through alignment with your values. When your actions reflect what you truly believe in, when you live in a way that feels honest and authentic, you experience a sense of inner peace. You don't need to pretend or perform to feel good. You feel proud of who you are and how you show up in the world. That sense of integrity builds real joy, the kind that doesn't depend on outside validation. Another powerful way to create happiness is through contribution. When you shift your focus from yourself to others, when you serve, give, and help in ways big or small, you tap into a deeper form of fulfillment. Contribution gives meaning to your efforts and connects you to something greater than yourself. It reminds you that your presence matters, that your life has impact. And that kind of purpose-driven joy lasts far longer than the temporary pleasure of getting something for yourself. Creating happiness is a daily practice. It comes from the way you talk to yourself, the people you surround yourself with, the habits you build, and the beliefs you carry. It's not about achieving perfection. It's about progress. It's about becoming the kind of person who finds joy in growth, who sees opportunity in adversity and who chooses love over fear again and again. It's about showing up with intention, with gratitude, and with a heart open to the beauty that already exists all around you. The highest level of happiness is inner peace. It is the quiet confidence that comes not from what you own or what you've achieved, but from knowing who you are and being at peace with that truth. It's not loud, not dramatic, not something that demands attention. It's calm. It's still. It's the kind of happiness that doesn't need to be explained or shown. It's the feeling of contentment that doesn't rely on circumstances, outcomes, or applause. While the world chases stimulation, validation, and perfection, inner peace is about simplicity, authenticity, and acceptance. Inner peace isn't the absence of problems, it's the presence of clarity. It's the ability to sit in silence and feel whole. It's knowing that you don't need to prove anything to anyone, including yourself. It's when you stop arguing with reality and start flowing with it. Most people never reach this level because they're too busy running, reacting, comparing, or performing. They fill their lives with noise, distractions, and endless striving, hoping that success or recognition will finally quiet the unrest inside. But peace doesn't come from more, it often comes from less. Less attachment, less judgment, less control. When you live in inner peace, your relationship with yourself transforms. You become your own safe place. You're no longer ruled by the highs and lows of life because your identity isn't tied to them. You're not chasing happiness in the next moment because you found it in this one. You begin to realize that your value isn't based on your productivity, your past, or your popularity. It's intrinsic. It's in the way you breathe, the way you love, the way you simply exist. That realization removes the need for comparison and competition. You stop trying to measure up to people who are just as lost in their own search for worth. Reaching inner peace also means healing the stories you've been carrying, the ones that told you you're not enough, that you have to earn love, that your worth is conditional. Those stories create internal conflict. They make you chase things that don't align with your soul. But when you begin to question those narratives and replace them with truth, something shifts. You start living in harmony with your values. You start saying no without guilt, yes without fear, and you stop apologizing for simply being yourself. Inner peace creates emotional freedom. It allows you to feel deeply without being controlled by your emotions. You can experience sadness, anger, or disappointment without losing yourself in them. Peace doesn't mean avoiding hard feelings. It means not being defined by them. You learn to sit with discomfort without needing to escape. You begin to trust that you can handle what life brings, not because it's easy, but because you're grounded. That grounding allows you to navigate life with more grace, compassion, and strength. Another key to inner peace is presence. So much of our unhappiness comes from living in the past or fearing the future. Regret and anxiety steal the joy from the now. But when you are fully present, when you focus on the breath in your lungs, the warmth of the sun, the beauty of a conversation, you reconnect with life itself. In those moments, you realize that peace isn't out there. It's always been available, waiting for you to slow down and notice. Inner peace doesn't need approval. It doesn't need likes or followers. It's not dependent on a perfect life. It comes from alignment, from letting go, from choosing to be kind to yourself in a world that profits from your self-doubt. It's the highest level of happiness because it's not shaken by storms. It doesn't need permission. It's yours, already inside you, waiting to be reclaimed. Don't chase more. Create meaning In a world that constantly tells you to want more, be more, have more, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that happiness lies somewhere on the other side of accumulation. More money, more success, more recognition, more followers, more stuff. The endless pursuit becomes a habit, a cycle that feels productive but often leads to burnout and dissatisfaction. The more you chase, the more distant fulfillment seems to become. Like a finish line that keeps moving every time you get closer. What begins as ambition quietly turns into anxiety, and what you thought would complete you ends up creating a void. The truth is, more doesn't equal better. What you really crave isn't quantity, it's depth. It's not about how much you have, it's about how much it means. A single, meaningful conversation can outweigh 100 surface-level interactions. A purposeful project can bring more joy than a dozen empty wins. The human soul doesn't thrive on numbers, it thrives on significance. And significance is something you don't chase, you create. It's something you infuse into what you already do, already have, already are. Creating meaning starts with intention. It's about asking deeper questions, not just what you're doing, but why. Why does this matter to you? Why are you investing your energy here? When you live from a place of purpose, even the smallest tasks become sacred. A job becomes a mission, a routine becomes a ritual, a goal becomes a gift you give to the world, not just a trophy you keep for yourself. When you lead with meaning, you begin to design a life that isn't just successful, but soulful. Meaning also comes from presence. You can't experience the depth of a moment if you're always rushing to the next. Slowing down doesn't mean doing less. It means being fully engaged in what you're doing. Right? Be fully engaged in what you're doing. It means listening with your whole attention, showing up with your whole heart, and being grateful for even the quiet, ordinary parts of life. That presence is what turns experiences into memories, connections into relationships, and actions into impact. Contribution is another powerful source of meaning. When you take your gifts, your voice, your story, and use them to serve others, you create a ripple effect far beyond what you can see. Whether you uplift one person or thousands, what you're doing is reminding the world that it matters, that people matter, that you matter. That act of giving, without needing anything in return, creates a level of joy that no amount of getting ever will. It nourishes you in a way that external rewards can't replicate. Meaning is not something that waits for you at the end of your journey. It's something you build with every step. If you're intentional about how you walk. It's not hidden in grand accomplishments, but often revealed in the small, consistent choices you make every day. How you speak, how you treat others, how you rise after falling, how you honor your values when no one is watching. That is the architecture of a meaningful life, layered in integrity, kindness, courage, and truth. Chasing more leads to a life of pressure. Creating meaning leads to a life of peace. One is rooted in fear of not having enough. The other is grounded in the belief that you already are enough. When you stop running toward what you think you need and start pouring meaning into what you already have, everything shifts. You become rich in the ways that truly matter. Rich in joy, connection, clarity, and purpose. You start to build a life that doesn't just look good on the outside, but feels good on the inside.